What divides us? How can we understand why we are so divided in Babel? Let's look at Ephesians chapter 4, because Shaul is writing to our people also in Babel. You see, in a state of confusion, in a place of scattering, and there is division among them. I call upon you, therefore, I, the prisoner of the sovereign, to walk worthily of the calling with which you were called, with all humility. Key number one. If we are going to eradicate dissension, opposition, and division, we must all walk in humility. With all humility and meekness. Though we're strong, we can be humbled. Okay? With all humility and meekness, with patience, bearing with one another in love. These are important keys to Yashar'Al becoming united. We are a people scattered. These were our people scattered, and this is what Shaul is saying to them as they are awakening to the truth. I call upon you, therefore, I, the prisoner of the sovereign, to walk worthily of the calling with which you were called, with all humility and meekness, with patience. With patience, we have to be patient with one another, bearing with one another in love. We are patient with one another as we grow. Don't mean to be patient with one another, don't mean that you condone falsehood. But we are patient. Okay, so you don't fully understand this? It's okay. In Yahuah's time, as long as you remain humble, he will give it to you. I don't have to batter you with it. Oh, get it right now, get it today. No, but at the same time, be careful, be wise not to fight against the truth. Simply because you don't get it, don't mean that it is wrong. Simply because you don't get it, don't mean that it's not in the scriptures. And that's the problem. Some people don't get it, and because they don't get it, they say it's not in the scriptures, when clearly it is in the scriptures. You say to people that according to the scriptures, we cannot keep the feast in our captivity. Oh, that's a lie. And they go and they make videos and they call you all kinds of stuff. That's stupidity. That's foolish. That's stupidity. Now, as long as a person is not fighting against the truth, if you don't get it, that's fine. It's okay, Akut. It's okay, Aki. I understand that you don't see that right now. Continue to pray and ask Yahuah to open your eyes to his contextual word. You see? Humility, patience. The one that Yahuah has revealed something to must be patient with the one that is still growing and learning in it. Don't batter that one because they don't get it right now. But at the same time, the one that don't know it, don't get it, better not dare fight against the truth. Because then you become an enemy of the truth, an enemy of Yahuah. Have a lot of people fighting against stuff that they don't understand and that they have never searched out and that they have never studied. That's a dangerous place to be. Don't speak out against anything that you have not searched out. You see, and a lot of people are doing that. That's one reason for a division. A whole lot of people talking, but they have not examined the matter. You see, it's one reason. So we have a few reasons there: lack of humility, lack of patience, lack of meekness. Lack of humility, lack of patience, lack of meekness, failure to bear with one another in love. Being eager, here's another point. We must be eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of shalom, the bond of peace. We must be eager to guard the unity of the Spirit. We must be eager to guard our unity, being united in the Ruach. We must be eager to guard that unity, the unity of the Spirit in the bond of shalom. We must be eager to guard that. Don't be so quick to write somebody off simply because they don't understand something. It's different if they're fighting against it and creating chaos and confusion. That's a whole different matter. The scriptures tell you how to deal with that. But simply because of somebody don't understand and they are not willing to concede, no, don't concede. If you have not proven it, if you do not see it clearly, don't concede to anything. The response must be, well, you know what, brother? You know what, Akut? I don't see that right now. I need to search it out some more. Perhaps there's something that I'm missing. But I pray that Yahuah help me. It may take a day, it may take a year, it may take 6 months, it may take 3 months. But we must be eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. We are one body and one spirit. There is only one body. There is one body, one spirit. We must be eager to guard that unity. Okay? We must be eager to guard that unity. So one body, one spirit, one ruach. As you also were called in one expectation. Notice the usage of the word one. You know, when you talk to Christians and even people who say that they are of Yashar'Al and they're walking in truth, you still get the Christian idea of a personal relationship. What does that mean? When you talk to a Christian about truth, scriptural truth, the first thing a Christian will say to you is, I have a personal relationship with God. That's the first thing a Christian will say to you. What does that mean from a Christian perspective? When a Christian say, I have a personal relationship with God, of course, who is God but a pagan idol? God is a pagan idol. Give no esteem to idols. Give no esteem to idols. Yahuah is a jealous Elohim. He will not share his esteem with another. So number one, we ought not to be giving esteem to an idol. You know, I see people who fight against the truth, call themselves Yashar'Al, but I also see them very much into people who in their teachings and professions are talking about God and the Lord and Jesus and so on. That is not pleasing to Yahuah, family. And as a matter of fact, today, if we would like to, we're not going to get to all of this study today, but when we do get to a study on the feast, before we go there, I want to start out in the book of Judges. Because remember, I said that Yashar'Al have always worshipped. The question is it always pleasing to Yahuah? We want to go to the book of Judges. I want to show you that Yashar'Al is a people that have always worshipped. But simply because you're worshiping does not mean that your worship pleases Yahuah. You see? So people, I see people of Yashar'Al, they're, some of them using God, some of them, if they're not using it, they're, you know, you see them sharing stuff with people talking about God and so on. That's an abomination before Yahuah. Now understand if you don't know. But the problem is, I see people who have heard the truth, but continue to reject the truth and continue to do wickedly. It's one thing not to know, it's another thing to know and refuse to hear and to do. Also, we should know that according to Torah, ignorance, there is no excuse. Ignorance is no excuse for breaking Torah. The expectation is, Yahuah has an expectation of his people for us to know Torah. So if you're ignorant of Torah, if you're ignorant of his instructions, it's still on us. You see, we are not to worship Yahuah any way we want. So when you speak to a Christian about truth, they'll say, oh, I have a personal relationship with God. What does that mean? You know what they're saying? What they're saying is, well, and they'll explain to you what they're saying. Well, that's what it says to you, but this is what I got when I read it. Family, there's only one truth. There is only one truth. The idea of a personal relationship, when a Christian say that, what they're saying is that when I read the scriptures, it says this to me. Now, it might say that to you, but this is what it says to me, and I'm fine with that because, and you know, he let me know that that is okay. That is nonsense. That is garbage. That is wickedness. That is evil. You see, you have people who say that they're in the walk of truth that still have the same mindset. When confronted with the truth, instead of doing what the scriptures say, prove all things, they buckle down and they say, well, this is what the scripture says. In other words, you're just saying what the scripture, what the Christians say. When I read, this is what it says. Well, What it says to you, does it line up with context? When you put it in the context of the book, does it contradict? Truth does not contradict context. Truth does not contradict context. Truth cannot contradict context. Truth never contradicts context. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge and the rejection of truth. He will reject those that reject him. You see. So we've got to be careful that we don't get into that whole idea of, well, this is what it says to me, personal relationship. No, there's one truth, one body, one spirit, one ruach. If there's one ruach, then whatever the one ruach speak is uniformed, because it is the one ruach that speaks, the one spirit that speaks. When we speak about the feast and when we speak about different truths in the scriptures, I've had people say to me, well, I wasn't fasting the other day. I fasted for 3 days and this is what the ruach told me. And what they're saying the ruach told them totally contradict what is written. Yahuah is not speaking anything today that goes different from what he has already written. Anything that we say we hear from him must be confirmed by what is written. If it is not confirmed by what is written, then what we're hearing, we're not hearing the spirit of Yahuah, but we are hearing either our own hearts or wicked ones, demons. If it is not confirmed by what is written, it is a lie. How many people have you heard? I've heard people tell me about even them and what they call Yahuah, the names that they use. They say, well, I prayed about it and the Spirit told me his name is Yahweh. I prayed about it and the Spirit told me his name is this and his name is that. Really? How can the Spirit, the one Ruach speak, contradict what the one Ruach wrote? The scripture was written by the Ruach. No scripture is of any private interpretation, but all scripture was given by the inspiration of Yahuah, and it is profitable for teachings, for rebuke, and for reprovement. He comes as a messenger of light, a revealer of truth, when in fact he is the opposite. It's entrapment. We have a responsibility to love the truth, seek the truth, buy the truth, and do not sell it. A whole lot of people selling stuff, and they ain't seeking nothing. We should be willing to buy the truth, but don't sell it. A whole lot of people selling stuff, and it ain't truth. If you was with the truth, you wouldn't be trying to sell the truth, but you would be willing to buy it. Now, let's see what else Shahul, the set-apart teacher, says. So one Elohim. Wait, let me go back. Verse 4. One body, one Ruach, as you also were called in one expectation of your calling. Yahuah has only one expectation for us all. One expectation, because we are to be one house. A house with many divided rules will not stand. If you're living in a house, if you're a child living in a house, mommy has one set of rules and daddy has rules that contradicts mommy's, what happened to that child? That child is going to grow up to be an absolute lunatic, tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine, confused, timid, scared, and doomed. But Yahuah has one rule for the house, one expectation of your calling, one sovereign, one belief, one belief. How is it that so many people have so many different beliefs? How is it that there are so many beliefs among us? Because number one, we lack humility, we lack meekness, we lack patience, and we refuse to bear with one another in love. Verse 2. Verse 3, we refuse to be eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. We fail to recognize that we are one body, being guided by the one Spirit, and who is called in one expectation of our calling. We fail to realize that we only have one sovereign, one master, one belief, one immersion. You have people being immersed in Jesus, people being immersed in Yahusha, people being immersed in Yahushua, people being immersed in Yeshua, people being immersed in Yahawashi, people being immersed in Kawasaki, people being immersed in who knows what other nonsense exists. Scripture says there is one immersion. There is one name given whereby men must be saved. That name is Yahusha. Scripture tells us that we must be immersed in the name Yahusha. Yahuah, our deliverer. Verse 7. But to each one of us, favor was given according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach. That is why it says, when he went up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts to men. But what does he went up mean? Except that he also first went down into the lower parts of the earth. He who went down is also the one who went up far above all Shamayim to fill all. You hear that? He who went up is also the one that went down, and he went back up to Shamayim to fill all. If Yahusha is different from Yahuah, how can Yahusha fill all? Isn't he going to push Yahuah out of the way? If he's going to fill all? Now that goes into another pagan teaching, another pagan belief, another pagan doctrine about two Yahuahs, the Trinity, duality, and all of that other unscriptural nonsense that comes from people who refuse to study the scriptures contextually and to allow scripture to interpret scripture line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. There's great danger in one's refusal to search out the truth with our whole heart, meaning that the only thing we desire is the truth. So to answer that question, the reason why there is so much division and confusion is those reasons that Shaul stated. Same thing he was dealing with. He was talking to a people that were scattered and were waking up. In the middle of the waking up, there was a whole bunch of pride. Everybody wanted to claim, oh, I knew it first. I saw that first. Yahuah ain't interested in who saw it first. Yahuah is interested in the one who is willing to put himself last for the benefit of the nation. That's what Yahuah is interested in. All prideful hearts are fools, bound for destruction.